Yep. I see GP hosting.
Yay, GP's there. It looks like
Yeah.
Yeah.
YouTube is maybe going. I don't know. I don't know anymore what's going on. I see studio fired up, so that should mean we have a stream. It's our Tuesday thing. I don't know what we're calling our Tuesday thing. I'm just calling it It's Tuesday. How about that,
Dude,
guys? What do you think about that? You love
works for
it?
me.
You love it? You like it? You in love with it? You don't care?
Turn around Tuesday.
Turnaround Tuesday here with your boys. It's Mags, JFDI, GP. You guys can send out your links to your Twitters. I hear myself on somebody's
That's me. I just turned
something
it
or
off.
other. And why are we not live on the YouTube? Maybe right now. I don't know. We'll see. Yes, there we are. Hello. I see myself
We'll
on the
see.
internet. I can turn my microphone off. All right. Do all the tweets, the twats. Did you guys tweet yourselves?
Yep.
Yep.
Turn my microphone off. 15 minutes late, but hey, we're here and that's what matters most. I was running some errands with a neighbor. So that was nice. And we've got all this new fancy streaming gear that we got going on. So it took you boys a little while to get ready. GP, I'm tagging IWM in this post, and before I told you, like, wait a minute, we're not live, you were getting ready to complain about the IWM.
Was I?
I thought you were. He's like, every day it's something different with this piece of shit.
Well,
Blah
I
blah blah.
mean, the market is driven like we honestly just need a flush, right? Like we're struggling to we're struggling to move higher and there's just not enough liquidity to move higher. No one's buying this market ultimately, and a flush would be a welcomed moment, and it's flow. And so like if you're watching the IWM or if you're watching anything else, flow's driving a lot of what's going on right now because there just isn't much volume. There's no organic buying. Um, right? Like Hims is down a lot today.
There was a
Uh,
report out on hymns, wasn't there? Something about
some
some
non some
something
some
something.
recirculating of the same news over and over and over again. The reality is they bought puts yesterday and now they're releasing the news or whatever it is. It's flow related. I'm just tired of it. It's not it's my positions are doing well ultimately, except for Rocket Labs today. But they did a smart thing for the business, which is launch an offering. So if the market's paying all this and they're willing to give you cash to make sure your business survives any potential downturns in the future at the current value, you got to take that's good business management. So nothing
Yeah,
wrong with
yeah.
that, but it hurts.
But what is it today specifically in the IWM? What you said, there's always one thing. It's one thing. What was
It's
today's one
regional
thing?
banks today. KRE is down, right?
And you were
And
pumping the shit out of regional banks.
they still look great, but they alternate what goes down. And XLE is up today, right? So they literally, if you're the four sectors I have here for the IWM are XLF, XLE, KRE, and XBI. XLE and XBI are up today. XLF and KRE are down. So and then you have industrials down too. So um, it's just it's nonsense, right? Like, and then when I talk about flow and stuff, like the best example I can give you is Tesla, right? In terms of what happened yesterday with Tesla, the CEO buys $1 billion in the stock in the open market, and the stock goes
Impressive.
up. The stock goes up 3.5%, right? Like we stop rate cuts in April and the stock goes up 23%, right? So sorry, not rate cuts. We stop tariffs or pause tariffs, the 90-day pause, we go up 23%. And so this is not your to me, this is not your prototypical Tesla move. And it just goes to the fact that no one's really buying stuff and they're waiting for the pullback. So flow comes in, like you could have seen it yesterday as as it was hitting 2 p.m., the flow literally just went bananas to buying puts and selling calls, and it literally just dropped immediately. It went from what 420 to 402 in a matter of couple minutes, right? You can say it's extended, you can say all this stuff, but if you've ever traded Tesla past the last two, even in the last 2 years, a 3.5% move on some news like that is not a lot, right? That's an expansion candle. That's 10, 15% on any normal given day. So I just kind of want the flush so we can get some healthier movements up. But I don't know what you got. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, you know, looking at the Qs or like even the NQ, considering we've already essentially started to break out of this range that we've been in, you know, for the last, let's just say since early June. Um, kind of had me leaning towards selling off you know, post Fed. I'd like to see us kind of hold that 575, 580-ish kind of area, which kind of puts the Qs like right back into the 20-day. Or if it gets worse, you know, again, just kind of looking at the 550s, I don't think would be out of the question. 560s. You know, everybody's going to be tweeting all the like, first move is the false move. The real move comes after this and after that. And then, you know, like their bias is confirmed and then all the quotes kind of go out the window. But I think the real kind of decision maker is going to come Thursday, Friday.
Yes.
So I kind of like I said last week, I mean, my kind of game plan coming into the week was really like selling down, like just selling down some shit that like I didn't really have a whole lot, you know, like Rocket Labs was one I dumped just because I didn't have a whole lot of cushion there. Um, just kind of stuff like that. Like I wanted to sell down rather than, and actually kind of interestingly, like looking at the charts, like there was some stuff that was, you know, weak this morning kind of pulling in, like, you know, even HIMS, for instance, it's like, man, if we didn't have the Fed tomorrow, I, there were some spots I thought you could have legged in and got a little aggressive today. I just don't think it was necessarily the play going into the Fed. Um, yeah, just kind of my opinion. I don't know. I don't everything that I'm kind of consuming, um, the everyone seems to think that the only thing that's going to derail this market is a black swan event. And so, at least from like kind of again like what I'm consuming, like the few shows that I watch and you know the pre-morning market shows and whatnot. So I don't know. The It has been a stock picker's market. I don't really foresee that changing for any reason. I think that yeah, I don't know. I don't want to say it's going to be a non-event or it's going to be a huge event. I just don't really see us like gapping up and absolutely ripping. Like I feel like this is the fact that we're pushing into the Fed announcement, I feel like it's setting us up for, I mean, well, I guess when you say flush GP, I don't know how hard you're necessarily speaking or kind of like what levels you're thinking we're going to pull into, but I'm kind of in that camp too. So like, you know, I'm going to pull up the NQ real quick. I mean,
Well, I would
I
say
like the way the NQ obviously looks better than like the Qs. So like, you know, if we pulled back to 23.9, 24,000, I think that would look really pretty. Um, maybe too pretty. I don't know, but based on just
I
like,
think
oh, go ahead.
no, I can see the one of those kind of outlier days where the IWM actually outperforms the NQs, like they can sell down the NQs and have the RTY go up is a possibility as well, because they are not buying the most beneficial names in the markets going into potentially what's the most forecasted rate cut in a long time, right? And so they're not front running it, they're waiting for the news or whatever it is. And so you can see that maybe potentially, I don't know. And I think that's probably my cue, and that's what I was telling my crew is that I'm going to be selling stuff by the end of the day, right? Because
Sure.
I don't have a read, and I don't have a good read here, right? And it can go either direction. I still like small caps, but I don't have a great read, and where I don't have cushion, I'm not taking any chances, right? So
I think it's kind of the safe bet. Like it's tough because it's you again you look at, let's just say, the NQs. Like we've been in a range already for God the past 3 4 months. So it's like, do I think we're gonna roll over and even head back to the 200-day? No, I don't think so. I'm not in that camp. Um, I also didn't necessarily think that we were going to be pushing into the Fed announcement either. I thought we were going to kind of continue to chop sideways. So on the
well, we have
individual,
been, right? A lot of names have been chopping sideways, really.
yeah, absolutely.
Um, And so, like, if you're looking at the broadening wedge in the Qs, similar to the broadening wedge in the Qs in 2020, we still got room to the upside,
Oh
right?
yeah,
So,
yeah.
and that upside gets to, so what did it do in 2020 is the question too. Once it hit that broadening wedge, it kind of went sideways for 3 weeks tight and then took off again, right? And so that broadening wedge is right around 605 or so this week. No, 600. So that is psychological number as well. It kind of makes sense that we can get to 600 and then have some turbulence.
Is there
Um,
anything you're looking like on the top of your list, like the top of your radar that you're not currently in that you're looking to add on weakness or get into on weakness or
um, Potentially AMD. I've been eyeing AMD because it did something very similar
it
in
looks good.
2023, sorry, where it kind of had this big move off the bottom and then flagged for months on end. It looks stronger this time that you may not get the months on end flag. And so it's currently in a bags. If you pull up
Yep, pull it up.
AMD, yeah, it's potentially in a 3 week tight here, right?
Yeah.
So that's one I've been looking at because I we talked about AMD a lot, right? And AMD was my three tranches ad, and when it got to about 184, I trimmed out about, I would say, 25% or so. So I would like to add that back. And so that's what I'm looking to add in. Really liking the look of Lemonade.
Yeah.
I'm in, but I want to protect if we do get weakness there in this week back to like 52, 53. I will be reloading more. I already have probably a 60% position, so I would like to get to 100% position on that. Um, I love what Lemonade's done over the last few weeks as well, and the response from buyers this week. So I don't know if I get that pull, but if I do, that's what I'd be looking for. Also really like Circle, and dude, the China names are hot. Look at Baidu, look at
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Alibaba.
Cranking.
There's a lot of names that are look at Baidu. I posted this yesterday. I was like, oh, maybe Baidu participates, and then look at that. Literally the next day, we're up 6.5%. It's
Well,
um
it doesn't matter. I mean, even going like to Tencent, right? Who
yeah.
has, maybe started this upwards before Baidu. JD's the only laggard right now, and it looks like it's ready to pop. But,
Yeah, Futu
coming
looks
back to what we
great.
talked about for months is Baba. I mean, this is going to 180 soon. Like, this is going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, and do you remember the trade that we well, I don't know if you guys put it on, but the trade I put on, and I think who Keith, right? Our producer from StockTwits.
Yep.
Uh, I don't think he's in it anymore, but we bought the December 170s for 260, and we're on the verge of in the money. And it's September, right? We talked
Yep.
about this for a while. It did do absolutely jack for the last couple of months, but when it moves, it moves. So the China names, any pullback there would probably be another place to get long as well, Nick, if you're looking.
That Yeah, that I was actually kind of looking at JD, that Jake W guy who's on like the Wednesday morning show on StockTwits,
Yes.
was kind of chirping up JD. He's got a pretty big position there. Just he kind of put it on my radar. I don't have any China on right now, but yeah, they all look fantastic.
So
I
why
think
is
this
JD
is
lagging, Ben? Do you know?
I haven't, yeah.
there's no good reason. I think this is going to repeat the same thing that Baba has done, though, right? And I put this 70 or 80% markup right here, which is right at $60. Because charts aren't always the same, but they often rhyme, right? With a lot of things that we learn. And you see this and you see this, right? Those two huge bars. And where does it catch each time, right? It comes back in, it catches the base. It comes back in, it catches a base. Just like voila, right? Baba did. So
Yeah.
why wouldn't you expect this to happen and this to happen if this is already happening over here?
Yeah.
So I think you got a nice uh, if if you're looking at China, I would probably play Baba, Nick, but I think JD can be a nice laggard catch-up trade because it's roughly the same pattern.
I mean, he's an like that dude's an
But aren't you always
options
concerned
guy.
with laggards, though?
Yeah, I'm not. I mean, I just brought it up because he had kind of put it on my radar. It wouldn't necessarily be my kind of play per se, but I think also
Like,
he's
I'd
playing
rather,
the option, so I think,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
depending on how it moves, I think it's a little different strategy than what I would be looking for.
Vanilla
I,
Ice rhymed and had bars too. That is correct, John.
I,
I was,
I,
oh,
I would look at Futu instead, right?
yeah.
FUTU. This has been the leader in the markets, and so in the China market, sorry. Um, it pulling in here, I think it's into the 9 week, right? Is to me like a stronger buy than JD,
Oh,
which
yeah.
is
Totally agree.
lagging, right? So something that's been leading is going to continue leading. Um, yeah, so that like I the laggers play can work. I'm not arguing that. But I always get concerned that laggers are laggers for a reason.
Yep, no doubt.
For sure. Uber and Dash, I think, are two that I don't have anything on as well that are kind of currently on my radar. Uber's kind of pushing, nudging up against the 100 mark. Dash
You
kind of looks like it's ready to head up into all-time highs as
you
well.
remember when Uber was in the 40s, well, for what seemed forever, and
Ever.
nobody wanted it?
Yeah.
Remember
Yeah.
that? Those were
Yeah.
those were fun days. Dash has just been on an incredible run. This is a 3-year run.
Monster.
Yeah,
I mean,
Dash.
Look at
There's
that.
been a lot of bases and names, and people are like, "Oh, they're shitcodes or they're memes," and you're like, "Dude, like, do you please read a chart, right? Like, we have bases, we have things that are evolving and all this other stuff." But anyway, can't
Well,
argue with the brick wall.
GP, I mean, I think some people, I love using the term lost in the sauce. And I think some people just see every hot name that comes up in the market. And over the course of the last 6, 8 months, just about everything's been a winner, right? So
Yeah.
I think people have paralysis by analysis. They're seeing so many things that they want to be involved in. Nick, they do something that you hate, as you know, they take a piker's position, right, in a bunch of names. And while some of them may do well, some of them don't do as well. And that there have been so many stocks that have run since April. I literally can't catch them all, and I'm not trying to catch them all. All I'm trying to do is consolidate in the four, five, six that I like for my best long-term growth. And that's my style. That doesn't mean it has to be your style or anybody else's style, but I feel like we just get so many options thrown at us on, the stock market pageant show that people get confused and they're lost in the sauce because there's so many names. And I'm thankful that everybody who's done well this cycle has caught a lot of these names. I think that's awesome. But at the same time, like, you kind of just got to trade what you know, and you can't really trust every ticker that you see pop up on StockTwits or X or everywhere else to lead you there. So that's why I'm thankful for you guys. I think we parse a lot of this out together, and that doesn't mean it changes necessarily our styles and how we do things, but it broadens our education and our mind, and it makes us better. And I think a lot of people have that problem, and they don't have the sounding board that you know I'm fortunate enough to have with you guys a lot of the time.
Yeah, and there's a lot of the 2021 behavior that's obviously getting people irritated, which is
Yeah.
what's the next SoFi? What's the next Palantir? What's the next blah blah blah? And it's like 30x this, 30x, dude. Like you have to execute. Charts
Yeah.
can be charts, but if you don't execute on a fundamental basis, the charts will fail, right? And so do the charts, but pair it with some level of fundamental analysis. If you're buying, I don't know, I don't even know a name right now, but let's say you're buying Lucid for a 2021 Darling, whatever. I don't even know. It doesn't matter. But like GoPro or Open, and like Open has been a beast. Don't get me
Yeah.
wrong, but there's no fundamentals to this conversation here, right?
Well,
This is
this is the
all
thing.
hype.
I think this is a great example of open, and this is not against any open shareholders who have bought anywhere down here on this chart. Congratulations, I applaud you, right? But when this was getting pumped, under $1 and then under $2, like, there's not really a lot of anything behind it, right? The chart is repairing, and you got a winner, and that's great. I'm not saying that people didn't do research, and I'm not discrediting anyone's time or validation of being in open, but you see for every open that does this, you see what, six, eight different ones that didn't do this. That doesn't mean they didn't
Yeah,
give you gains, but they didn't do this.
yeah, dude. But that's the thing, right? So like, you got a winner here. It could be the next GME. I'm not arguing any of that stuff, but I think this is the general FinTwit behavior right now, which is what's my next open, right? Or what's my next? It's not investing, it's squeezing, right?
Yeah,
So
totally.
if that's what you want to be, if you want to be involved in, great, that's fine. But we talk about things that we want to be long term, right? And
Yeah.
investing in long term. So those are great. Those are trades. I caught open for 25%. I'm happy with that. Am I upset that it's gone up another 200% since then? Not at all, right? Like I don't actually believe in the stock. I hope I wish you the best, but it's not investing. It was a trade for me. I wanted to grab 25% on like every month I want to grab like two or three of those so I can help build my cash position. Um, and it was just
Yeah.
part of that for me.
Hey Nick,
And
I know
that's
you do. I know you do a lot of scans. You both do a lot of scans, but
Yeah.
when you see something on StockTwits or X or elsewhere, what makes you have conviction that okay, somebody brought this to my attention and now I like it, I want to trade it? Or are you much more skeptical? Because I am very skeptical. I'll be the first to tell you.
I never really care I never really care who says what, honestly. I if I pull a ticker up and like throw it in my watch list, um it's only because I either saw an existing setup or liked the idea of it am waiting for a setup. So it all really boils down to, again, kind of like the tools that you have in your tool belt. If you're trading like candle by candle basis, like, something pops up, you might set an alert at like, the prior day's high if it's got like a nice long tail, or like long wick. If it's like kind of building out like a bigger, broader based pattern, you might set alerts like through certain moving averages or versus the highs or lows of that range. It really kind of depends. Again, like how you were kind of, talking about open versus it, it being a trade and a Momo trade versus like an investment. I think that's kind of the tough thing about and the tough thing about social media, but also like how important it is to know yourself and your style and your strategy, because there's nothing wrong with trading multiple strategies or multiple like, whatever, but um I think the misconception a lot of the times is like if someone is in a Momo trade, like are they like full port this thing or like are they just looking, you know what I'm saying? Like are they scalping it? That's why it's like really you ought to be using, in my opinion, using social media as more of like a scanning tool as opposed to like really feeding into someone's opinion and bias. Because you're like, like I
It's
kind
not a
of said
signal
prior.
tool, right? It's not a signal tool. Ultimately,
Yeah,
social media is noise. And if you can derive a signal out of the noise, great, right?
yeah, totally. And I think a lot of times too, it's a it's it's not that difficult to separate a trade from an investment or even a trade from a longer term trade because even like even if you were day trading and scalping, like there's nothing wrong with letting a day trade turn into a swing, but you also have to size down and then size risk for you altering that trade plan or that strategy. Um, I think it's difficult for people to do that. You know, John's probably gonna laugh at hearing me say this, but like it takes a lot of time being in the game to become somewhat time frame fluid, as in like if I am into something or like I think something looks great on a 10-minute chart, it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to look great on a daily or a weekly.
Yep.
So ch your mind, it's difficult to kind of again to switch that mindset up. Um, and I'm guilty. I'm definitely guilty. I think everyone's probably guilty of it, especially if
Of
if
course.
you're allowing a day trade to turn into a swing trade. Although if you have it built into your plan, it kind of allows you to have a little bit more confidence to sit in something long term because you've not only do you probably have a little bit better price because you nitpicked it on a day trade, uh, from a day trading perspective, but you're also selling down and have already booked some gains in to let it. I'm kind of like rambling here, but like you understand where I'm going with this? It's like
Yes.
if the day trade worked out, great, but you still got to sell it down so that you're risking the appropriate amount on, let's say, a swing or position trade. And yeah, you've booked gains. Like you could probably set your stop either tighter or if you're really selling down, even wider, or however it is that you kind of want to play it. But um, anyways, yeah, social media, I try. And again, like, most people are kind of talking their book too. And I appreciate the confidence that a lot of people exude, but especially the more kind of content creator side, like the Shea guy, like I think the guy's great. He's not I don't think he's a short-term trader or swing trader, but like if you look at like his feed, like dude, he's providing like so much fundamental analysis and research, but he's like, it's like kind of the same thing every day. Like it's the same thing, kind of like same posts every day, the same tickers every day. Like
Yep.
that's not a um the only thing that's giving you is like again like pulling something up to put it on your radar. It's not giving you some form of signal. I don't think. I don't know. I kind
That's
of went on a rant there,
no,
but I
no,
don't know if
Um,
that
that's
answers your
I
question.
think that's great for the psychology perspective. All stuff to keep in mind, and a reminder to our viewers who are listening today that we're all three different personalities, three different trading types. Um, Try to align on general thesis and viewpoints and stuff, but we don't always. So it's nice to always have a good sounding board, a reminder that an echo chamber is not good for you, right? Ultimately, you want people to challenge you and all that other stuff. But we should talk about some stocks.
Yes, ENPH was mentioned in the chat.
Yeah,
I said we're all going to say FSLR, but somebody prove me wrong or not. Prove me right.
I just ENPH is always the alpha in the ENPH and FSLR conversation. FSLR is just the beta. You know why? Because it's actually a fundamentally great company. ENPH is not. So it always has a lot more Momo and pushing around and stuff like that. So anything can trade ultimately, but if you want to invest, FSLR is always going to be my bet.
Nick, anything about this chart you like?
Um, Not particularly. I was actually going to say that NXT and FSLR are probably my faves, and then under that would go SEDG. Um, and ENPH would probably be my last. I've seen a lot of people mentioning silver alongside with solar. Um, just kind of throwing that out there.
I mean, on,
Uh,
on the daily for ENPH, you have recaptured the moving averages. And I think that's great. And you
yeah.
guys have watched our shows enough that I like to see candles and wicks. And this situation right here tells me that there is a battleground. You've got a lot of wicks up and down, and I think it probably needs to break higher to get bullish.
If
So
you
I
if
would
you
probably put a line about right here as my pivot. So I would say $44 or thereabouts
Right
would be
here.
where I would want to see that get above for me to have any type of conviction.
if you stay on the weekly but zoom out a little bit,
Yep.
um, it's got actually a really pretty looking channel if you just connect the highs of both of those kind of sell-off legs and then copy it so the line is parallel and drag it down. I mean, yeah, you could even do that one and then same thing up above. Yeah, right there. There you go.
I got it. I got it,
I
homie.
mean, yeah, it looks fantastic. It's got five legs within that channel. Um,
And wouldn't you know it, that 44
yeah.
lends credence to that midline that I talk about on my stream a lot. So yeah, I would want it to be above that to attack the top of the channel there. That's just how I would trade it. But Nick, I'm sorry I interrupted.
Yeah, no, it ha like I was gonna say, it has five legs within that channel. Um, Obviously, if this was on your radar, I think it would have been a kind of an easy knife catch. Like
Yeah.
just if you were trading versus like the it looks like the June 16th low. So when once that low got recaptured and closed, so like your entry would have been on like August 11th, it looks like. Uh
Yep.
I like seeing when like a wide range bar like that low gets recaptured. Just I don't know, it's just kind of a me thing, but um, it would have been an easy way to kind of bottom tick that kind of lower trend line. And then obviously if you're looking to build into it, then just kind of wait for the setups to kind of come and let it kind of reclaim the level that you're talking about, that 40, and then once it breaks out of this channel, then it's like fucking game on. You've got a ton of cushion. The trade's in your favor, and obviously once the trend line breaks, then we know that there's a definitive change in trend and in direction. Ultimately, I think when it reclaims that 73, that other pivot low, um, I think that's going to be a
Yep.
kind of a huge level to watch there too. But
Yeah, I think it can do it. I don't keep up with the stock regularly. I put this line on here. Um, that guy right there. Because if I were to buy here, that's kind of where I would keep my stop.
Sure.
Would I let it run back into 33? Probably not, being in the lower part of the channel, but that's just me. I think if you get down that far, chances of going there are probably higher than going there. But
Yeah.
no position for me. Anything can trade.
You
Uh,
know,
if you like it, I think that's my analysis.
I don't know if you guys caught this, but I saw Duzio and MBG going back and forth, and I'm pretty sure Duzio said FSLR is the biggest position he has on currently,
Oh wow.
which I thought was kind of just, I don't know, just throwing it out there. I thought it was kind of interesting, but
I thought it was Tesla. It was like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It was all Tesla.
So I saw another name, VSAT. That's actually a name that's on my watch list.
yeah,
There was some politician that picks him up somewhere back here. But I think it looks pretty good out of that
yeah.
pop.
Wait
If
for
you're
it to
looking
consolidate
for a
back to.
Momo runner, I think that might be one.
Would you? So like, is this what industry is VSAT in? Do
They
you know?
do satellites.
Satellites. Okay, that makes sense. Those names are also hot right now. So, we saw SATS, right? That's been nuts.
Yep, that's
EchoStar.
EchoStar. Yeah,
Yeah.
and they a lot of theirs was they were selling band, right? And I
Yeah.
think Tesla bought a bunch or SpaceX bought a bunch.
SpaceX. Yeah. SpaceX bought a bunch. So that move is probably done for now, unless other players come in. But the like in like related spaces of like hot names and stuff like that. Are you watching the quantum names? Because they look fantastic.
Yeah, I've got
And
INQ on. I don't
this is
have
the internal
RGTI.
battle, Nick, right? And Ben is like, the market needs a pullback, but these names look great. What do I do?
Which
Right?
quantum
Yeah.
name do you
And
want me to go to? RGTI?
let's talk about the spaghetti.
Yeah, it looks
Yeah,
great.
it looks great. This was a name that's also on my watch list, and I think it looks fantastic.
So I'm in this. I just got into this because it looks fantastic. Um, and this is not a long-term investment for me. This is a trade. So not a lot of fundamental research done to it. Maybe you have and you think it's going much higher. Great. For me, this is a 20, 30%, one of those five, couple that I try to get a month to build my cash positions up. Um, that's what I'm looking at here, but it looks coiled. It looks ready. It's an inside week. It had amazing consolidation, basically an ascending triangle, a cup, whatever you want to call it, at high volume area, right? Like it didn't break down. It held technicals, and there's already names in the space. Ionic Q, I think Ion Q,
Ion
Yeah.
Q, yeah.
already breaking out, right? So,
I like this
but
setup though, GP. I like the what you got going on there, and as you know, we've gone over this for years. I love when we just keep getting cups higher, right?
yep.
It's a beautiful thing to watch. Nick, are you playing any of these quantum names? I think you were the first
Yeah,
one that brought up
I
RGTI.
I have INQ on right now. I don't have RGTI though.
It looks great.
So
You're pretty
the
happy.
question is, right? Well, how do you handle this going into a binary event, right? So you want to be long this name, and I'll quickly go over how I'm going to handle it. Is I'm just setting a stop of where I bought it and 1 or 2 cents higher, right? Because I don't have a lot of buffer. So if the market takes me out, fine. If not, FOMC gets the market to break out and these names move higher, then I'm in. The last thing you want to be is caught holding the bag for another 2 or 3 months in a name like this, right? And it could easily drop 20, 30% if the market reaction to FOMC is not great, right? So that's the way I'm
Yeah.
handling it.
Yep, you're right.
I mean, it's got such a flat base look to it. If you caught the breakout, and are willing to round trip it, I'd almost probably leg in and add more if you got the breakout retest.
Yeah.
Um, if you, yeah, like if you didn't, like, is that Ion, yeah, IonQ, if you didn't, then you're not, and you are kind of chasing it, then it's like, I'd still have my alerts probably set 48 to 49 or 48 to 50. That's probably where I'd be looking to add more to it. My stop would still be kind of like 42, 43. But anyways, it's got such a flat base look to it. It's a very pretty easy and pretty easy way to say like, hey, if it does pull back here, it will. If it's sharp and it doesn't close off the lows on that retest, it would look kind of nasty. Um, but if it gaps and runs for whatever reason, I would chalk it up as just a missed trade. It's not like something I'd be chasing extent like I wouldn't be chasing this thing higher here.
Oh, a name that I've been paying attention to, that has been hot as of late, and Nick, you've been all over this one. Tempest
Yeah.
AI. Um, I just look at this chart and I see every pullback as a gift. Am I wrong?
I don't I don't think so. It seems to when it starts to trend, at least on the daily, it seems to respect both the 10 and at the 20 day at the very least. If it loses the 20 day, um, that's where you can kind of see it starts to get into trouble. It's not, and it hasn't even broken out of the
No, I
base quite
know.
yet. So like above 91 and it's like clear skies. So yeah, kind of same thing. If we get a weak Fed print post announcement, you could probably set your alerts anywhere from like I'd be interested anywhere in the 70s, honestly. If it dipped below the 50 day, I'm like, nah, fuck it. I'm out. I'm not. I'll wait for it to reset up again.
Another name, GP Core Weave, that has been hot.
Yeah.
Interesting news yesterday, obviously, with Nvidia and the stock skyrockets. Well, I
The
shouldn't say
circle
sky.
jerk.
It went up quite. What was that? 8% yesterday. What's
The
your take on
NVIDIA CoreWeave
Core Weave?
circle jerk, right? That's
That's
what
your
we're talking
take
about?
since the circle jerk?
Yeah, man. It's like we need you, you need us. I'm just gonna keep feeding you and doing this. It can work, don't get me wrong. I'm just like it's suspect as hell, but the chart doesn't look that great to me. It looked better a few days ago, and now that's what, back-to-back wicks at that level, that 138 level or whatever it is.
I was paying most attention when it was doing this number, and
Yeah.
I wasn't paying that close of attention to be able to be actionable on it. I have a different chart of this, but I'll do my best of it here. Um, that's kind of what I was looking at. You've got that lower channel, and then we had the big gap up last week that basically put it outside the channel. So a retest to me
Yeah.
is perfectly going to be these moving averages.
Yeah.
So that's just I'm not sitting here going wick by wick, but that's basically the other chart that I have of this.
I mean, like, if you were asking me to take a position here, I would say no, right? And you would say the same, which is either come back and wait for the retest or the breakout because of
Hope
how
for
the
9 or 10 points lower. Sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So that's all I'm saying, right? It's like I don't plan for this to be ever an investment for me. But that's just it's my personal desire. So I rather do a retest because that's back-to-back wicks at that area where it sold off post earnings, right? That was earnings, those two big red candles from the top of that channel. Um, and we're seeing two wicks there. So there's still sellers that they have to work through, and the sellers may be able to push it back down to that 100 level, but the flow is insanely bullish. Another time where flow was really, 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 really bullish?
When
RBRK. So,
RBRK rubric.
Looking
yep.
rough right now. Shit. I thought I was gonna hold the low end of that range. Kind of fell off my radar. Hey,
Yeah,
real quick, back to CoreWeave 1 sec.
yeah,
I just wanted to mention, like, in terms of like a candle by candle setup, um, that September 10th bar, is kind of the bar of interest. It's the high volume candle.
Yeah, for
And so
sure.
like you could just set your alerts at like the highs and lows of that candle. If again, this was kind of on your radar, looking at like like the September 12th candle, you could see how they tried to spike price and it got eaten right back up. It just
Yep.
tells me that they didn't have the sellers to push it lower, just like today they didn't have the volume to push volume higher.
Yep.
Uh, that's just kind of again, like if you're playing a candle by candle, that's kind of the one that really stands out to me.
Nick,
But
Nick,
anyways, back to
would you
oh yeah,
be looking at it there at that sort of 109 area at the bottom of that, ignition candle there?
yeah, totally.
Yep.
By the time you've got the 20-day still kind of curling up, and once you get those shorter term moving averages curled through the 50, it's kind of like, all right, everything's stacked and curled in the direction that you want it to be. Uh, I say that, but would also need to take it kind of a day at a time. Like if it's like some nasty ass like outside reversal, heavy volume, and other positions are getting hit, I might not take a stab there. But if I don't know, yeah, I would. I'd have an alert there at the very least set up versus the low of that candle. You're not really risking a whole lot. Let's see where you'd probably risk it maybe down to 102. If you really wanted to play it versus like the century mark, the 100, you could kind of do that, but now you're talking about risking like 10, 15 points versus 7 or 8.
Back to
Um
RBRK.
yeah, back to RBRK, sorry.
That's okay.
No, I was just saying I was just talking about bullish flow not always being a good indicator of where the stock can go. But going back to CoreWeave for a second, in the same space, I think the better risk to reward for you here is actually Circle.
Yeah,
And
that looks good too.
right, so it's in the crypto space, which I think along with Circle, along with MicroStrategy, I think we're about to have some big moves in these names. MicroStrategy more specifically, um, but Circle, your risk is $4, $3 right now, 2%.
Yeah.
It's down to that gap at the 133.56, which it tested today, right?
If
And
you want to get picky, you could take it down to that 9 on the daily there, that 127, but it would have to bounce there and hold, right? Like,
yeah, that's why I rather take the
yeah, yeah,
133.56, and then
yeah.
if it gets to the 127, buy it there, right? So rather not risk another 6 or 7 points for this name because it can do it, right? It's a wild kind of stallion, so to speak. But like if you're at everyone's all over CoreWeave right now. There's a lot of flow, there's a lot of conversations. People aren't talking about Circle in the same way. So that's where I tend to be. Actually, I'm in a position in Circle here
Nice.
because I think it's a trade. It's not a long term anything going on. It's a couple of weeks. It's a trade. I'm using the leverage ETF to juice the gains a bit here. But it's the same stop for me. So I think that
Does
leverage
everything have a leveraged ETF
does
attached to it now?
now.
Holy shit.
CRCA is the 2x leverage. So if this moves where I think it can move, that will most likely end up being a double. I probably won't be around that long. So the risk for me, because I'm leveraged, is a little bit more than the 2%. It's around 4.5, 5%. So I'm okay with that, but it's up to everyone else here. But I think the one name I really want to talk about is Tesla.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
True or
mean,
false? True or
I
false?
don't know how better your boy could have drawn this chart, but anyway.
True or false, guys? This is not a Tesla move.
True or false? This is not. I mean, this is the Tesla chart we're looking at.
No, but
You're
the percent in
referencing
terms of percentage.
Uh,
just from this past 7%, 6% move to where we are now.
Just this whole like we just based and coiled between 350
No,
And
no, no. I think what you're looking for is no, the gains should have been much more for it to be a Tesla move.
Sure.
yeah, so to me, the move's not done, right?
Right.
Oh
And
no.
I guess that's so, but like, so I was talking to a friend yesterday and I was like, yo, Elon just bought $1 billion worth of Tesla. And his first reaction was to sell a third of his position. And I was
Why?
like, no, but it's a conversation about sentiment, right? Like in
Sure.
not just in Tesla, but in the markets overall. And I'm like, we just based in Tesla for 4 years now. We retested the breakout after taking out all-time highs, and we are now pushing out of an ascending triangle. And the sentiment, it's not just him, there's so many that are in that boat. They're looking to sell down. No one actually believes that this market has further legs higher, right?
Oh man. Yeah.
Well, here's the
And
prior all-time
so,
high. I just took this pink line straight across, and if you can't see the tug of war here that happened last time it was up here, I don't know how to teach you how to look at a chart. Yeah, no, I'm with you, GP. You guys know how I feel about the company and the founder of the company. I have said many times that I will sell. I said 400 is going to come soon. I think that was on a chart somewhere that I'd written it, but we'll figure that out later. Yeah, this is the Doodles page. This isn't the show page. But no, I'm not selling at 400 just because I knew it was going to pop to 400. I think we've got, you see a whole nother daggone channel here to go. So yeah, GP, you're right. I think when people are in a long, I'm going to use air quotes again, long suffering position that they just want to get out of it and take the gains, right? And I'm not saying that Tesla is necessarily long suffering for someone who has an average like yourself, but if you bought in anywhere nearly in this mess other than here or here, you probably feel like I've waited a long time for not typical Tesla gains, right?
but I'm not even talking about my original position, which is from a really long time ago, right? What I'm talking about is even if you just bought Smart in Tesla, you're over 100% on most of your purchases, unless you're buying the 488 breakout. I'm sorry
There it
that
is.
you should
There's
have
your
been
point.
buying 488 after 150 fucking percent move. Sorry.
Yes.
Huh?
Yeah. No, I'm agreed.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but like, if you, it, I'm up over, so I have my original position in a different account, and then in a separate account, I've been buying um, since Tesla started breaking the 50% retrace, right? From 450, 414. So that was around 200 and bought in multiple tranches and have been using the gains from the names that I bought around that same time, Amazon, Google, Shopify, all those names. I've been selling those down and adding to Tesla when it gets back to the lows, right? So all my purchases now are well over 100%.
I mean, even if
And
you bought
so like I'm
Liberation
not,
Day,
there's
right?
still no
Yeah.
suffering,
Yeah.
right? If you bought well, you still don't suffer. Has it done what Palantir has done? No. But it already did. That's the thing. So I just I that the conversation was more about sentiment for me is that there's this underlying like I even got text messages from another friend um saying is like, what do you think of this chart? And the chart was the market's been the most overvalued ever in history, right?
Yep.
And then the Buffett indicator chart. So like the sentiment is that people are standing at the edge, ready to sell down everything that they own because they think the market is done, right? And so like I just it's possibly that's what's the case. I don't know if that's going to be the case, but it's
I mean,
just
I think particularly in the case of Tesla, there is a certain segment of people who want nothing to do with Tesla, similar to myself. Uh, and I'm confident that I can replicate gains somewhere else. And sure, it hurts to see things that you're invested in and then you pull out of go much higher. But at the same time, everybody buys for a reason, everybody sells for a reason. And I'm not yucking your yum, don't yuck my yum, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I think the wall of worry is the like going into FOMC tomorrow. I personally think we need a flush. We do just to gather liquidity and have healthier movements and stuff
Nick,
like
do you think
that.
is that what you're looking for too?
I'm definitely prepared for it. Um, I think if it behaves in the way that I would like to see it behave, I think it would look kind of pretty. Part of me thinks it would almost be like too pretty. I'm trying not to like overthink it, honestly.
Well, there's only three things that can happen, right? It either goes
Yeah,
lower, it goes higher, it chops around and does nothing.
I guess it kind of again, kind of back to um, kind of that original conversation when you talk about a flush, like how deep are you thinking? Like let's say on the Qs, for instance, are you thinking back to like 575, 580, or are you talking like a 50-day flush? Um, because I wouldn't be surprised to see a 575, 580 retest. And all that would be is just a retest of like this most recent kind of breakout to me. Which I think would be pretty. Like I think it would set up a lot of opportunity. I don't particularly want to see. Actually, I wouldn't really care if we saw price just absolutely rip and run. I'm positioned for that. I just wouldn't be as sized up as I would, I guess, prefer to be. Um, but yeah, I think a flush or a spike low would look good. If
I
it
mean,
kind of if we drop below that 575. I would kind of shift gears into the camp that I think we're heading back towards like 550s, maybe even undercut that low. Just because if we drop back below within the previous range that we were in, the last several sessions would look like a breakout failure to me. So I would be looking for price to head back to the low end of the range at the very least. Obviously, with the in the back of my mind, kind of hoping or I shouldn't say hoping, but sort of hoping to yeah, for a higher low, like for price to find some support. But a breakout failure would look kind of gross.
I put two numbers on the SPY and the Q's chart for a reason.
Sure,
580, right? And 650. And we're basically 10 points higher than both of those. Um, I prepared for this week by selling some trades down and things that I had less conviction in long term to be able to consolidate if I get any opportunity this week. And similar to the exercise that I did in, the spring, I'm prepared to put money to work higher if I have to. I hope I don't have
sure.
to, but at the same time, I think whatever this is what I was getting ready to say, Nick, is I think everybody's expecting one or the other and not expecting the third option. I don't
Which
think
is
I've
just chop.
ever I don't think I've ever seen in my history of keeping up with the market and what interest rates do. I don't think I've ever seen a front running of there is definitely a cut happening. Like I don't think I've ever seen it to this extent with we're going from a doubtful to a cut to there's a 90% chance of a 25 basis point and there's even a large contingent out there that's saying it's going to be a 50-point cut. So
It
I
should be
think
50.
I don't disagree with that, GP. We've both been on the Fed is late to the party and late to leave, right? The Fed is always late. So I don't disagree with any of that. I think what would upset the market the most, obviously, is if no cut happened, right? I think if it's a
Yeah.
quarter point cut, I think we're just going to sort of levitate because that's what's expected. I think if we get a half a point cut, you're going to see probably some volatility to turn around to be all of a sudden an immediate upside within a session or two, if not the very next day, of all of a sudden every shitco it becomes shitco 2026 basically, as opposed to shitco summer and shitco fall.
Sure.
Yeah, so to add to that, right? I was just having this conversation yesterday, is I honestly think they need to get to a 3/4 basis point cut. They are data dependent, is what they've been telling us for a year. Guess what? Your fucking data has been wrong for a year. So you are so far behind in the conversation. You should be tracking the rate of inflation. That's where your Fed funds rate should be. It is nowhere close. They need to get it down there. They need to open up the businesses, all the stuff we can rant about. But the interesting part of that conversation was I was talking to someone I know, and they're like, "What about the $1 trillion on the sidelines? The trillions of dollars on the sidelines?
Something
Does a
like
rate
eight
cut bring that?"
trillion. Something
Huh?
I think it's something like 8 trillion.
It's yeah, yeah. But so here was my thesis to him. I'm like, at a quarter point, no one changes shit, right? Everyone keeps status quo. No cuts, then definitely they'll keep it as is. But if the Fed goes and they go 50 basis points or even 3/4 basis points to do a catch up, the initial market reaction may be a sell off. But
Yes.
what I will tell you is that that money, and this is my opinion, I don't have any facts or anything behind it, but that money that's sitting in money markets will then begin to flow into the markets because they go from earning, I think, 4.25 or 4.5% right now to 3%, and they are no longer beating inflation. And so maybe some more risk averse people keep it in treasuries or money market accounts, but a lot of people will start analyzing their risk to reward benefits of holding it cash versus the inflation rate, especially if inflation starts to creep back up, right?
Yeah. I don't know if
Because
it's
the Fed has
exactly
already
eight,
told you
but
they're
it's
going to run it hot,
yeah.
right?
I don't know if it's 8 trillion, but it's multiple $1 trillion sitting
I
on
saw
the
it yesterday
sideline.
or yesterday or a couple of days. It was like 7.8 trillion, something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. And roughly a third of that is estimated to be dead people.
Really?
Yep.
So estates?
Yep. People who
Okay.
just have left money in there and it's just never done anything. It's been there for years and years. Supposedly, that's what I read. But you can never be too careful what you read on the internet. Um, hey guys, we're over time. I mean, I'm happy to keep going. I don't know what you guys got going on, but if we need to wrap it up, we can wrap it up.
I can give her like maybe 5 or 10 minutes, but then I need to go as well.
So Nick, I think it's interesting, and I'm completely aligned with what GP was saying. I think if there's a 50% or a 50 basis point or more, we're likely to see a drawdown, and then sort of you're pulling the beach ball underwater, right? Type of
Yeah.
event. I kind of think the quarter point, again, it is priced in. It's obvious it's priced in. And I don't necessarily, I think the market might be a little sour that that's all they're getting. But for the most part, I think that'll be a choppy atmosphere. I don't think that there's a world where there is no cut. I don't think that that happens at all. Are you
but
paying
if it
attention?
does, ooh, watch out.
Yeah, if it does, yeah, if it does,
I mean, it doesn't really matter to me. Really all that matters to me is just how we react and respond to it.
absolutely.
If
Like
this fucker
it's
says we're data dependent again, watch the hell out.
Oh, he's gonna say
yeah.
that.
Then put me in the audience and let me ask him about the data that's been wrong for 12 months now.
I mean that we could play a drinking game on data dependent tomorrow if you guys wanted to during the show. I think that could be fun. I don't see a world in which we do not at least take one shot if we played that drinking game.
You think
Oh,
do you want to see if StockTwits would do it an hour earlier, or you want to be on while they
I think they
announce?
have another show before us.
yeah.
Oh, okay, okay.
I mean,
I I
we could
I
come on early and do this if we wanted to.
Yeah,
we can
I'm
do
done.
let's do it live during FOMC. Tomorrow's probably a pretty
Yeah,
pivotal one.
that sounds pretty good actually.
right? It's
Yeah.
probably a pretty pivotal one, so we can give real-time analysis and stuff to the people who are listening and following us on what we think. I think it'll be good for tomorrow, and then
Randy
maybe
will
we can
get the
talk
butt
about.
sweats during FOMC. So yeah, I think we just keep the normal schedule.
Yeah.
Um, do either of you think that there's a chance that there isn't a cut tomorrow? I mean, other than minuscule,
A what?
a
That
chance
there's
that there's no
not.
cut. That they
If
stay.
if there is no cut, I don't want to be in this market. I will tell you that. That's all I know. Um, but reality is he already told you in Jackson Hole what he's going to do.
Yeah.
Powell, if he's not nothing, he is consistent and he has been his entire tenure. He tells you he does it. It's not like it's not like he's ever surprised to like.
Well, and they've got the new Fed governor on board now, right? Who's part of the administration, which is a first ever. And we know that there's additional pressure to lower rates more than that. I would be surprised at a 50. Honestly, I'm not saying that a quarter point is my base case. And I think 50 is on the table, but I think anything more than that is just like what is going on? Who are these people?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
then you
oh,
almost want to put the conspiracy hat on and saying this guy really doesn't like Trump, right? And I'm like, no, dude, like you guys finally got the data that the rest of the world has known. The job market is really crappy for the most part, and um, there's not a lot of jobs out there, and people are struggling to find good jobs. If you're in one, good, shout out to you. But
Well, no, I think you hit on exactly what I was wanting to say just a moment ago. I just spaced out for a second. Is with the revision of those job numbers that we saw, was it last week?
yeah,
From 911,000 jobs left the market or whatever. I mean, I think that alone is reason for the Fed to have some action, whether we believe these numbers are true or not. Like I don't know. This is just what we're told. So I
yeah.
would be surprised if there's a zero tomorrow. I would be very surprised.
when I
Well, yeah, dude, we should just abolish the Fed at that point, right? Because they're useless, right? Like, what are you doing? You got your data dependent was proven wrong. So,
Nick
sorry,
said,
go ahead,
"Stop
Nick. I
this
think you're.
macros."
I keep cutting you off. My
oh
bad.
no no no. I just anytime that there's a fat announcement, it always brings me back to like 2008, 2009. I was trading on a prop desk, and most of the guys were like hyper scalpers, so like they were trading like minute to 3 minute charts. And there was a kid on our desk that, dude, he would like everybody would be so tense and so hyped up because it didn't really matter. Like we knew the volatility was gonna hit and price was gonna go every which fucking way. But he would get so worked up, dude. He would start breathing heavy, and almost without a doubt, as soon as the announcement would come, like, dude, he'd pass out. Like he'd just be like, dude, there went Sean again. It was just,
He should not be a trader.
I don't think he
He
is trading anymore. Awesome guy, but it was, yeah, it just always brings me back.
Okay, so the three of us kind of expect some type of volatility to happen tomorrow, as it often does on a rate change day, right? And I think we've all three said in different fashions that we are prepared to have a shopping list or to go shopping, right?
Yep.
Give me your top name that's on your list and why, Nick.
I like both Dash and Uber. I like Tem and I like Arm. Those are probably like my favorite.
I asked for his top one, and he's given us everything on the list.
Well, those are just kind of like my bigger base setups. I think on the smaller space, I think you saw somebody. Oops, did I just lose you?
Nope, we're here.
Um, I think Pony looks really good. I think BBAI looks pretty good. RR's kind of pushing hard. Um, as far as like the kind of like smaller, cheaper names, same thing with like the IonQ and Spaghetti. Uh, but honestly, I think Dash, Uber, and then Tem and Arm are probably my favorites at the moment. As far as like the names that I think are currently like set up that aren't already kind of trending or have broken out.
All right. So at what point is this purely technical? You're looking at your
Yeah.
pivots on the chart of
Yep.
if this hits, I start buying.
Yeah, so Dash, kind of right there through the pivot high, like the 263, 265. If I saw it spike down to, I don't think I have alerts set, but I'll probably have alerts set at like 151 and 150, or I'm sorry, 252, 251 as well. And then Uber, kind of similar, probably. I know I have an alert set. It's probably, no, it's not going off, but let me just take a look at it. I'll probably set an alert for like 94, 95 as well.
So you're looking like at a
Um,
3 to 4% maybe pullback in Dash, and that'll be a buy spot for you. Then
yeah,
on Uber,
kind of same thing. Kind of right back to like the pretty much like,
93
yeah, I mean, it's already kind of retesting the
ish.
yesterday's breakout, but yeah, I don't know. I like them both. And
I don't
then
know
kind
how
of same
old this
thing,
chart
Tem
is,
and
but it's
Arm I already have on, but I don't really know what to make of Tem yet. If we saw a spike through 91, I'd probably add to it. Um, I really I don't know if Tem is one that I want to add on weakness, just because like I had said earlier, I think if it breaks the 20 day, we'd probably be looking back down to like the 70s. So that's where I'd be looking in that kind of range between the 20 and the 50. It'd probably be 71, 72 is where I would be looking to actually like really leg into it. Not so much, I don't know. I don't know. ARM. I've got fibs drawn on ARM currently, just kind of from the wide range candle breakout up to the follow through day that kind of had that I don't know what you would call that, like a shooting star or whatever. But I think I'm sorry, ARM looks pretty good here. I don't know if I would be too interested on adding to ARM on weakness. I'd probably rather add through like 160 or like that 159, 160. So adding to arm on strength versus weakness, 'cause it'd be confirming an ABCD leg up from there versus like there's just if it breaks lower, it's like, well, fuck, this thing's just it's still in a range. It hasn't actually broken out of anything yet, other than you could probably argue that it held the 200 day. Um, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that gives you a better
No, that's good, Nick.
idea.
GP, you got one or two names that you're willing to share?
I got like four, right? So I'll go. We already
Yeah.
talked about a couple of them.
Lucky us.
Lemonade's one of them, obviously. But obviously Tesla pulls anywhere into the range that Elon bought on Friday. I think that's a no-brainer ultimately. Um,
Would you look, sorry to interject, would you be looking to like buy more Tesla outright or something like the TSLL?
so I'm not going to do anything because I'm already in it pretty
Oh, sure, sure.
heavy.
Okay.
So if anything, I would look to sell puts, right?
Okay.
And so so that's the way I would handle it now because um, let the stock do its thing and then use the puts to build cash again. And so that's the way I
Sure.
would handle Tesla, but I'm already long, right? So it's a
Yep.
different conversation for me. Um, and I would be selling puts for like let's say the next week is week. I would be selling puts for the week of earnings, right? It's your best bang for your buck. I think right now at the money puts for October 24th week are
Yeah, it's only a month out.
$34, right? And so you'd assume that if it got down to like 390, 380, they would still be like if you sold 390 puts, then they'd probably be around 20, $25, which is still a pretty good entry price. Um, so I would handle it by puts. The other one is Nike. Ben, I
Yeah, you
mentioned this
shared this
yesterday.
yesterday. I thought it was great.
So this to me is I wanted to now show relative strength, right? And so it's done its thing, which is reject the declining 50 week for literally 2 years, right? It had the Batman pattern that Ben loves at the top, and then broke down and rejected the 50 week nonstop every time it got above it. We are now watching the technicals change real time. So if we see weakness in Nike and it retests that 50 week, or just maybe slightly undercuts and comes back above. Um, I think this is a name that you want to put on. I put on January calls yesterday, January 85s if you want to join me if it does get some weakness. I only did a half position on that, so if it does come in more, I will be adding to it. I really like the risk to reward. It's flattened up here, and so IV has been juiced out, so you're not paying a lot for those 85 gen calls. And I think this can move back to 105 if it holds that target. This is how I identify trend changes. These trend changes on stocks with blue chip status are massive, right? It was a trend change that happened in GE at like I think $40, similar trend change. Now GE sitting at 290. So expand your horizons, look further out. Um, these are powerful, powerful shifts over time, and that's the other one.
Yeah,
And
I
I
like Nike a lot, GP. I drew
yes,
a pivot there at basically 71. I think you're likely to get an undercut of that 50 and set up this inverse head and shoulders right here.
yeah, I see that as well. That's definitely a possibility, which is why I have a half position, right? And I want to add to it.
Yeah.
I don't want to be long-term Nike at all, so I'm just doing the option stuff. It's a better risk to reward for me. It doesn't fit my investor profile. The last one I really, really like is MicroStrategy.
Yeah.
Like the coil that's taking place here, the dojis that are adding up here,
My
the
brother in
like it is.
Christ, let me tell you something.
Yeah, sorry if I stole your thunder on that one,
No, no,
but
no. Keep going. Keep going.
the like there's every time I say it, no one believes it, right? Like, and that's the power of the sauce for me, is that it's done nothing. And you're right, it has done nothing but grinded down while Bitcoin has gone up, right? And so this is the cycle. This happened last year as well, but I'm not even referencing that. I'm just looking at the chart in this point is like it is so tightly coiled that it has this spring loaded look to it. Can it fail? Sure, but I love the look,
Just look at the
right?
fucking wicks. Just look at the
Yeah.
wicks down there. I mean, again, anything can happen. And I have missed an entry on this sucker a couple times over the last couple weeks, but that's okay. I'm prepared. I will buy higher if I have to buy higher. But I told you guys right now I'm leveraged to the tits in crypto, and I don't just say that to talk my own book.
Huh.
Um, if you're paying attention to the crypto cycle, and I posted this the other day. Where are we in this cycle? We're not in full blown alt season yet, right? Alts are starting to run, but how terrible have they been? And then when alts finally run, where does money go back? It goes back to Bitcoin, and of course, MicroStrategy is going to, you know, just it's already a multiplier of what Bitcoin is. So if you don't want to put extra Bitcoin exposure on your books, like I currently don't want to do that, I'm going to play it through MicroStrategy, or I might even play it through the MSTX, which is the two-time leveraged MicroStrategy. Anyway, I couldn't be more with you on this, GP. You guys know I love a hated name. This gets a lot of flack, and I've hated on it myself. But just seeing the cycle of how it's playing out, especially when we are anticipated to be in a rate cut environment, even if we only get a quarter this time, we're still probably likely to get one, if not two more rate cuts before the end of this fiscal year. So I don't see how, unless this is the biggest rug pull of all rug pulls, that crypto and its proxies don't rocket moon Lambo.
Yeah. So agreed. Absolutely agreed. There's one final note from me before we do FOMC tomorrow is if you're looking for a potential, and I just put it in the chat as well, um, it's it's the one thing that can derail the markets, which is the trajectory of currencies can have impacts that we don't know about, right? And so the dollar getting wrecked here and breaking down from a pretty big pivot here. It's breaking the broadening wedge. It if this accelerates, it has the potential to cause mayhem in the markets. That's all I'm saying. I don't have a macro thesis on it, but when things accelerate in any direction that are considered stable currencies or market
Yep.
moving things, you just have to pay attention,
Yep.
right? So just keep that in mind that dollar is getting wrecked today, and that's before
And it is
FOMC.
Batman as well.
Yeah.
Anyway,
And
yes,
so like
MicroStrategy was my single name that I have an eye on. So I know I posted my trade plan, what was it, a week and a half ago or whatever it was, a couple Saturdays ago. That still abides. It's completely holding the 50 weekly moving average as it has respected it multiple times. I hope we get a pull in tomorrow or Thursday. I'd love it. I'll be there screaming, "Take my money!"
yeah, dude, and it's 3 weeks tight, Nick.
The
It
Mister. Yeah,
couldn't
I
it
was waiting
couldn't
for one
be
of you guys to
tighter.
say
It's
that.
literally like 331, 331, 331.
Yeah.
So, I looked at this. 3 candles in a row is kind of like the max that it hits this 50 before it goes. So this is the third candle. So I'm just saying I don't know what's going to happen in the future. I use charts to help me figure out probable things,
It's
and
sitting it's sitting right on the 50% from the high to low of this entire range as well. So you've got like you definitely have an area of confluence here between like the 3 week tight, the 50%. I don't know. Just
Yeah, draw that inverse head and shoulders after the blowout
yeah,
move from November.
that too.
Right? That's an inverse head and shoulders, which is a consolidative pattern after a monster move. There's a lot of things to
Yeah.
like. Now we just need the price to respect it.
yeah. All right, guys.
Yeah.
We did a really long one last thing. Nick, you got something else to say?
I was just gonna say I was a little surprised to see Coin not hold, considering that Coin Google News. But just meant I only was gonna bring up Coin just in alignment with Mister
I mean, it's
or
only up
MSTR.
10% since I told all you dummies to buy it.
Yeah, yeah. Kind of yeah. I
And I
like
mean
how it's kind of
dummies with the
curling and
most
holding
loving
at
affection.
300.
Yeah, your
Anyways,
number's
that's all
300.
my yeah, that's all I
Love
had.
you, love you. Hey, if you can't be with the one you love the one you're with. And
Yeah.
there you
Randy,
go.
you hear that?
There you go, Randy. Love you, Randy. Hey, GP, Nick, love you guys. See you tomorrow.
Sounds
Thanks,
good.
tomorrow.
Peace out as soon as I can figure out how to stop the stream.